Now, tributes have been paid today to the actor Dean Sullivan, who's died at the age of 68. He was best known, of course, to millions of soap fans as Brookside's Jimmy Corkhill. And in a moment, we're going to chat to Phil Redmond, his friend and Brookie's creator, of course, who originally only expected Dean to be in the show for an episode or two. Well, Dean was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2018. He was a campaigner for Prostate UK, encouraging men to get checked for signs of the illness. Phil McCann has been looking back on his life.
From the mid-80s...
I have never worked so hard in all my life!
...to the very end.
Yeah, it's fine. I've told you, stop worrying. Never mind about me.
Dean Sullivan's Jimmy Corkhill was Brookside's longest-serving character and the last to star in the show when it was axed in 2003.
For a penny, eh?
Jimmy, like the show, broke boundaries with storylines on drug abuse, his mental health and organised crime. But somehow, to his audience, he always managed to be likeable and endearing.
Hey, listen, do you reckon there's anyone here from any of those fancy papers?
I don't give a damn. The man's a total miscreant if ever there was one.
He was a real Jack the Lad on, yeah, a likeable rogue is what I would say.
Just a real character. He was a scallywag.
And that's what I liked about him. You know, very outgoing character.
And of course, he was responsible for one of the most famous scenes in the history of British soaps.
Ah! What?
The body under the patio.
What is it?
Even when, with, say, the mental health issues, even when it was not mentioned in the script, I would still play that as an actor because he was diagnosed with bipolar, and if you're diagnosed with bipolar, you've got it for life.
He joined Brookside in 1986 as an occasional character and went on to become a fixture of the show and a symbol for some of the issues that Jimmy faced. At its peak, Brookside would regularly pull in 9 million viewers. And just this year, Dean was reunited with Sue Jenkins, his on-screen wife Jackie, and his daughter in the show, Lindsay, played by Claire Sweeney. Today on X, Twitter, she wrote, "Love you and we'll miss you, Dean. So glad we got to be together as a family one last time." As for his life after Brookside, well, he was given a British Soap Award for Outstanding Achievement the year the show ended. He starred on other TV shows and had a radio show on City Talk across Merseyside. Last year, he filmed a new short film for Netflix. And this year, Dean was due to star in Panto at the Atkinson Theatre in Southport, but he pulled out 2 weeks ago due to ill health. In truth, there was no one better to end Brookside, no one better with a trademark wink to mark the end of an era.
Brookside's creator, Sir Phil Redmond, is here with me on the sofa. Thank you so much for coming in, and our condolences, because I know Dean not only was a colleague, but also was a good friend.
Yeah.
I said in the introduction to Phil's report, you only expected him to be in for an episode and a half, you were saying. Why did you keep him?
Yeah, well, he was only in the 1.5 episodes to help Billy Corker move in. He was supposed to be his brother who was helping him in. And I just saw it in the rough cut and saw this guy, and Damon and his friends were walking past. And it's quite a classic Scouse thing. "Hey, mate, what are you doing there?" And it's just the way he turned around and said to them, "See that? Keep it out," you know, right? And it's just the way he put it across. And I thought, oh, that guy's great, let's keep him. And then went to the writers and said, you know, Billy's brother is someone we should develop, because he was almost like the archetypical... I mean, in your package, one of the ladies, they said he's a scallywag and he was a Jack the Lad. I mean, that was it, wasn't it? And even in the dark side, when we went into the dark side, he took us to so many comedic moments. You know, that was the other fantastic thing about him.
Was that his great skill? I mean, to keep somebody in a soap for such a long time, you know...
Yeah, well, I think it's
quite a thing, isn't it, for an actor to keep that role and keep it fresh?
Yeah, well, he was someone used the phrase about an iconic actor, and that's a very wide phrase. But the thing about Dean was that he was just so professional about what he did. He took it so seriously. And he was a great role model for everybody, you know, on the floor, whether it was young actors or young directors or whatever. And, you know, the point he made in the package about when he was diagnosed in the programme as a character with bipolar, he carried that with him. And that is one of the biggest jobs that soap actors have to do, you know, because you're changing their lives over 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And, you know, he never wavered in that, you know, and he got what the programme was about. And the other thing about him, like, he's, you know, we got closer and closer over the years because he also shared my I don't know, sort of disrespectful, mischievous sense of humour to authority, we'll say, you know. And I could always rely on Dean, you know, if I needed someone to go out and talk about the show, you know, or to talk about what we were trying to do. Dean got it. He knew exactly what we were trying to do. And that thing about it, when he had prostate cancer, and, you know, he went and he talked publicly about having it and making the point that if you, no matter what the problem, really, no matter what you're coming up against, there's always some help you can find. You know.
We'll talk about his prostate cancer work in a moment, but he was a primary school teacher, I think, before he became an actor. Did having a quote-unquote normal job and a normal life, did that help make him the actor that he was?
Yeah, also, he had that kind of pedagogical sort of like discipline about sort of wanting to know more and more into the subject, you know, and also how you engage people in the subject and how you get across the, you know, the intent behind the storylines. But yeah, and he had all that, and of course he was, yeah, he was just such a regular around the place, and watching that package, it brought back so many memories, and seeing Claire there, you know, and
you were smiling all the way through it, weren't you?
Yeah, it was.
You mentioned the prostate cancer work. I mean, he did so much to try and raise awareness to help other men. And I know you saw him just at the weekend, didn't you, in hospital, and he's still got that glint in his eye, even though he was so poorly. Yeah,
well, I mean, Alexis and I were close to Dean, and we got the call from, you know, the wider family, really, that he was ill, and so we managed just to get across to the Arrow Park on a Monday and see him, and he was very poorly then and everything, but we managed to get a smile out of him, a smile of recognition, and I got my hands, you know, I got a hand squeeze off him, you know, and all that, and I just took me back to find out. I'd always know, because he'd be shouting from behind me, "Hey, boss," you know. He'd be there, and he'd always know, he'd always say to me, when you did such and such thing, you were going to do so-and-so, weren't you? You know, he was always able to get 1 or 2 steps ahead of me, you know, so it was really good to be there at that moment, you know, to see.
He sounds like a real character. Phil, thank you so much for coming in. We really do appreciate it. I know you've had a busy day, and we're grateful to you coming in to talk to us. Sir Phil Redman, creator of Brookside, talking there about his friend, Dean Sullivan, who we'll all remember, of course, as Jimmy Corkhill.